This is the power system of World Rune, and it is relatively simple. The central phenomenon of this fantasy world is magic, a product of a volatile energy source known as mana. It is, in the purest sense, the computer program of this world's reality, a source of both its wonder and its chaos. Yet it is also this world's primary technology. And so many kingdoms and empires rely on magic to sustain their civilizations and technologies, with the exception of the Aetherian Empire, of course. Magic is, in essence, a labyrinthine science, one with an almost limitless number of applications, both in effects and casting methods. But magic is a strict warden, for there are hard rules for how it can be used, as well as how the creatures of this world interact with it. Entire academies have dedicated millennia to its study. The Mage Kingdom of Astra is but one of them. Yet for all their study, one simple truth remains. Mana by itself is useless unless given instruction, for we must use the universal language that commands it, runes. It is from this framework that all other magical phenomena can be understood. For example, if one wanted to simply manifest flame, they must write the runes in sequence. Each rune builds towards the final effect. First, a gathering rune. It draws the required mana from the air. Then, a transfer rune. It converts the gathered mana into a tangible form. Next, a heat rune. It transforms that mana into flame. Finally, a holding rune. It stabilizes the spell, keeping the mana from dispersing. Only then can the magic be activated with a trigger, such as clapping your hands or snapping your fingers. This is how a spell is created. Think of mana as a computer program. Magic is the code we write to run it. Through astrological practices and the patient drawing of random shapes, the denizens of this world have learned the script that shapes their reality. And we possess the ability to manipulate it because of a phenomena known as the soul. Every living being holds a soul that naturally draws in ambient mana. This mana will form a coat around the individual that acts as the pool of usable mana. This is constantly fed by the mana reserve, the mana stored within the soul itself. For spells naturally draw from the mana coat as well as the surrounding mana. The larger the soul, the more mana it can store. Though the size of the soul is dependent on an indescribable amount of variables. But mana is not a toy. Overuse it, and it becomes as lethal as any poison, for it can lead to a phenomenon known as overloading, a construct of mana-based biological evolution. Mana resides primarily in the body, separated from the brain by a gate, a barrier located in the upper spine. When magic is used, mana naturally flows toward the brain, eventually seeping through the gate. If too many spells are used, the mana will eventually breach the gate, causing destructive cognitive damage. This could impair the wielder, making further magics excruciatingly difficult and painful to cast. Or lead to worse, hollowed brain disease, a condition where the mind is slowly emptied. But it could also be the path to power, for one cannot achieve the pinnacle of magic without meeting these two prerequisites. One, the individual must be mana awakened. This allows the soul to gain the ability to store and use mana, though this usually naturally happens at puberty. The other is when the brain grows a resistance to the presence of mana through repeated exposure of droplets or even overloading. This allows the mana to permanently bypass the gate. The brain will integrate with the mana, causing a phenomenon known as mana awareness. The individual will gain the ability to feel, sense, and perceive mana. But this is not the only path. Mana awareness can also develop through natural responses to trauma, stress, pressure, or other intense emotions. The result is an individual capable of manipulating the very fabric of magic. But this is only the basics. The application of mana and magic can be categorized in 4 distinct schools. Magic, the practice of commanding external mana. Mana control, the manipulation of one's own mana coat. Mana enhancement, the commanding and projection of internal mana. And mana nullification, the breaking down of the script itself. However, mana control, enhancement, and nullification require the awakening of mana awareness. So next time we will begin the full scope of magic. Thank you for watching, and follow for more on this power system, lore, and stories. See you again soon.